Greetings and salutations. My name is Tish, and welcome to the Artist Haven, where home plus art equals heart. In today's live video broadcast, it is coffee with me, Tish, and I've got my Java juice all ready to go. And this is the time that I take each week to go over some beginner steps and do some basic learning principles on acrylic pouring. In the months to come, weeks to come, I hope to bring in other things that I'm learning, and I like to share my process and my ideas with you. My ideas and processes are no means the exact way to do it. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but I hope to inspire you and answer any questions you might have. I do have chat up, so let me take a quick moment and say hello to Lady Mist and Chelsea, and Jason is here. Hello, Jason, and Doris, and Gina Bina is here as well. I don't have a mouse, so I can't scroll. I can't do sound effects. You know, my computer is actually on that side. I just turn the monitor so I can see what's going on. So a Java juice pour, you know, I probably could do that. Do a coffee stain on a tablecloth or something, you know, like intentional. Anyway. So what we're going to do today is coasters and or tiles, because you can do some really cool stuff on bigger tiles and arrange them on a piece of wood, or put hangers on the back and have them hang on the wall, do all kinds of things. But if you're new to the channel, let me say welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. And hello, good afternoon, good evening to those of you around the world, or if you're watching the replay, just saying howdy, 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 and greetings and salutations. Thank you for joining us today. If you're enjoying the vibe and want to join a little creative tribe, all you got to do is click that subscribe, click the notification bell to all, and that'll let you know when we go live on our channel, because we go live 6 days a week. And we have fun doing it, and giggles and snorts and learning and laughing and love and all the cool things about life today. So anywho, if I miss anybody in chat, I apologize. Like I said, I can't scroll. I can just see the little box and I'm amazed I can read it from this far because the print's like this big. But anyway, first let me go over this task of cleaning your oopsies. Okay, I had done a bunch of tiles and they're really pretty, but like this one cracked really bad, and I'm not liking where it cracked, and it just kind of did this thing. So I'm going to show you how to clean this oopsie up. Now, I don't tape the backs of my tiles, because if there's a little bump right here, I'll just take my knife and make sure my hand is far out of the way, and I'll just run it across a couple of times and the paint just comes right off. I do paint the backs of my tiles, and then I either put feet or cork on the back, depending on how I feel about it. You know, if I think it can be, if it's a bigger tile, I usually put the feet on the back. If it's a smaller tile, I put cork. So I'm in the process of looking for another supplier, because the one supplier I found, yeah, they weren't that great. So anywho, you can just peel this off. You can see I'm just using my fingernail where that crack was. But what I usually do to facilitate it and have it be easier is I take a container, or in your sink, you can, you know, fill up your sink with hot water, but this was easier to show than my sink. So before I started the live, I got my little kitchen kettle here. This is how I make my coffee. I got my kitchen kettle hot again. We're just going to pour some hot water over the top of this. I don't know if you can see the steam, but this is really hot water, so hopefully it won't spill. Okay, whoa. So I'm going to put this off to the side, and we'll come back to that in a little bit. Put on its little thing. Nope, it did get in the paint a little bit. Oh well. Let's put it over here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to move my coffee out of the way so I don't get paint in my coffee. But first, a little sip. Jeff B, it doesn't need to be boiling hot. That water is just kind of, I would say probably 200 degrees. Boiling is 212 here in the flatlands. Once you get to the higher elevations, it changes. But here in the flatlands, boiling is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. I'd say that water is probably 190. So it just helps soften the paint and makes it easier to pull off the tile. So before you get started, I buy my tiles at Lowe's. I'm not a big fan of Lowe's, but because their stuff is so expensive. I have Menards near me, so that's where I normally go for stuff. But the ones at Menards have a little like dimple, I guess you'd say, for when you're putting tiles on your wall or on your floor. It's kind of a spacer. These ones don't have that. They're nice and flat and beautiful, and I like it that way. Now you can tape the backs, like I said. You can use masking tape or exterior painting paint or painting tape or whatever you want to do. I find that step that it's just monotonous and boring, and it's just easier to scrape off whatever paint I have, maybe hit it with a orbital sander if it's really, really thick. But I'm just really careful. As they're getting dry, I'll wipe off, as I'm doing them, I'll wipe off the back with my finger. I paint the backs anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. That's your personal preference. If you don't mind doing monotonous and boring things like cross stitch or sewing, they drive me crazy. I can't do that. My ADD goes in overdrive. So, but the one thing you do want to do is you take them out of the box. I get them in the box. I think there's like 92 in there, and it's right around $13. So your cost is very inexpensive, and it's a lot of fun to play around on these with new paints and use these as your canvases for trying new techniques and whatever else. So this is just rubbing alcohol. I use rubbing alcohol versus soapy water. One, because it doesn't leave a film, minuscule film. It does leave a film because everything leaves some kind of trace on there, but it leaves very little, and also it dries very quickly. So, well, hello, Stephanie. Glad to see you. Hello, Tracy. Good to see you as well. Stephanie says, I'm anxious to see what you do. My husband bought me a box of 100 from Lowe's. Yes, I know. They're so awesome. Okay, so rubbing alcohol. I just missed it on there. This is just a spray bottle. You can use travel bottles, whatever suits your fancy, and then just wipe them off. And I already did all of these, although I noticed there's a hair on this one, so I'm just going to wipe it off. So I do them in sets of 4 or 6 because I'm limited in space today. This is my work surface that I have. So usually I'll lay them all out and have like 6 or 8, sometimes 10, and just have them all ready to go. But for today's purposes, we're just going to work in groups of 4 because that's easier. And then I'll move them over when I'm done with them. So you can do pretty much any technique you want to do. We're just going to, for starters, we're going to do flip cups because they're easy and they're fun. And these are little shot glasses. They're about the size of a medicine cup. I think they're 1 ounce. I find these, if you fill these up, they're the perfect amount of paint for a tile. So that's why I use these for flip cups. I also use them for little pours and stuff on these. So for today's purposes, we're going to do this one, we're going to do flip cup. Maybe we'll do some more fun kind of pours on these ones, or a swipe or something like that. You can practice your techniques on these tiles. That's why I love them. If you don't like it, throw it in some hot water, peel the paint off, clean up the edges. There you go. Wipe it down again with some rubbing alcohol, and there you go. So let's see, what color should we use? I've got all these colors mixed up. I've got a few more quite a few more on the other side, but we're going to definitely going to be using white. We do have black mixed up too. We could do a black with metallics. That would be kind of cool. So many colors, so many colors. I do want to do some ones with like a pink and a purple. This magenta, and most of these are Montmartre paints or the color shift paints from Folk Art. So I'm hoping to get to Walmart today so I can snag some more of those because I'm having a lot of fun with them. So let's do the pink and this purple color shift. Let's do pinks and this blue, and let's just do these. Let's do these right now. So these are containers that I found at Walmart, and I really love them. I don't know where they've been all my life, but I don't have much of this left. So we're just going to put this in a little bit on the bottom, give it a quick little stir, put a little bit of this on the bottom of each one of these. So you treat these pretty much like you do a canvas, except you don't have to worry about the canvas being taut because you're pouring on ceramic. You do want to make sure your surface is clean, and then you want to make sure that you seal them. Now, I have sealed them both with polyacrylic, just in a satin finish, or I've used the Rust-Oleum 2X clear coat stuff that has a UV protectant, but then I always cover them in resin, and I do 2 light coats. And before you resin, if you don't want to sand them all, which is what I do because for me it's easier because tape and I are not friends. So I just sand backs. I lay them down on a towel and hit them with my orbital. Takes me like a minute per tile, whereas tape takes me like 5 minutes because I sit here and argue with the tape. So, but you want to tape the backs if you're not in a position where you can do something like that. I'm fortunate enough to have all those tools. So there you go. You know what? We might do a reverse dip on some of these. That would be fun. Let's do that. I've got some towels that I can cut up. Let's do a reverse dip on the next set. So these I use on tiles. I use the same consistency of paint as I use on my canvases, just because it's the same kind of technique. So what I use is a trace of 3. And when I say that, I mean that when I take my paint, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this show. When you do a ribbon, it disappears at a count of 3. So most of my paints and most of my projects are at that pouring point. So 1, 2, 3, and it disappears. Okay. You know, Doris, that, you know, the when I was back in Minneapolis, that was the case at my Walmart too, but the Walmart here had paint in the aisle and I was so happy. I think Michael was kind of giggling at me internally because I was like, ooh, paint. So we're just going to layer these in here. And you don't have to layer when you do flip cups. You can just dump it in there and go for broke. None of these paints that I'm using in the big containers have silicone in them. I don't like to use silicone just because I got to clean them. And when I say clean them, I mean clean them. Now, you don't want to soak these. You don't want to soak any of your artwork. But I use a combination. First, to clean off silicone, I use a combination of distilled water, hydrogen peroxide, and Dawn dish soap, and use that to clean it off. Then I rinse it with water, and then I hit it with rubbing alcohol. So you get all kinds of, you know what, we're going to put gold in here too, just because I like gold. Actually, maybe we'll put silver. Let's see if I can find my silver. My paints are kind of all over the place right now because I don't have my little racks. I have these little wheelie cart racks that I got at Aldi that I store my paints in. So do I spray? Yeah, I spray then resin. So I wipe them off with rubbing alcohol after they've cured for about 7 to 10 days, 5 to 10 days, depending on the humidity level. Being here at Michael's is a little bit different because he has central air and it removes the humidity from the air. So makes it a little bit different. But then I spray them, or I use a sponge brush or a sponge to apply polyacrylic, whatever you want to call it. And then I let that cure for, 72 hours, and then I put resin on them and let that cure for a couple of days, and they're ready to go. I mean, it depends on what resin you use. You want to pay attention to your manufacturer's recommendations. So let me see if I can find my silver here. I know it's somewhere. I know I have it. I know I brought it. There it is. Give it a good shake. Have I ever done varnish then resin? I have used the Liquitex Basics gloss, medium, and varnish on some things, and it works great as far as I can tell, but it's so blessed expensive. I mean, a gallon of it is like $75. So for me, I'm looking to, I use Art Coat by Stone Coat Comb Drops, and that has a UV protectant in it, so I'm not so concerned about the UV protection. Plus, I use a lot of highly pigmented and UV protected colors, so I don't feel the need to add more UV protection to them. I'm more using the clear coat to have as a barrier between the paint and the resin, if that makes any sense. So, I missed it. What brand of paints do you prefer? My favorite brand of paint is Winsor & Newton. Hands down favorite. Love Winsor & Newton. But I use a lot of Liquitex Basics. I use a lot of Artist Loft. Artist Loft Iridescent Medium is actually okay. I bought some on a whim because it was on sale, and I thought I would try it. And but for the most part, I Jones over Winsor & Newton. And then I use the Liquitex pouring medium, the gloss medium, and varnish as a pouring medium. I got some water still on that cup, so I thought they were dry. Here's me. Okay, so we're going to flip those over. You can kind of hear that hollow sound, and that's when you know that the air bubble has raised to the top. So I'm going to grab a sip of coffee here. And it looks all crackly. If you have the crackle look to it, you can sand it. Just lightly sand it with some, I use, 220? Or is it 320? Really fine, not super fine, not like auto detailing 1,000 grit, stuff, but enough to give it a little bit more to knock off the edge and give it some tooth, and then I resin over the top of it. So that's what I do. You have Pro-Marine epoxy. I've never used Pro-Marine. I've used some from the epoxy resin store. I've used the stuff that you get at Michael's and Joann's and stuff. I don't even know what that stuff's called, but it stinks to high heaven and triggers my migraines. I just found Stone Coat and I absolutely love it. It doesn't trigger my migraines. It doesn't stink up my house. I've got a really long working time with it. It dries beautifully. I have a piece from almost a year ago that has been sitting kind of in the shade, but still gets a little bit of UV, like direct sunlight for a portion of the day, and it has not yellowed. So anyway. Yes, sand it down. You can sand polyacrylic, you can sand varnish. You don't want to do it really heavy because you have just this microscopic film over your paint. So if you sand it too hard, you're going to go down into your paint. So I'm just going to give these a turn, and then we're going to lift and turn. There we go. And what I do with my cups is I stack them up one on top of each other, and then and then I add different colors to things, and then when they get about half full, I'll do a white base and then do another flip cup with it. So there we go. Wow, that pink, the magenta. Yes, Brooke's little miss would be like, it's not pink, Auntie Tish. It's magenta. I can hear her little voice inside my head. Awesome. These are just wow. So yes, you're going to have runoff, but you know what? Cabochons and some modeling clay, and you can dip them in there, and you can do all kinds of things. You can peel them off, once they dry, and make skins and cut them out and put them in jewelry, or make magnets with them, or put them in the bottom of a mold and pour resin over them and make other kinds of coasters. I mean, there's so much you can do with all this stuff. I tend to just throw it away right now because I just don't have the room right now to do all that. These colors are just amazeballs. We're going to torch it real quick. And torching is to pop bubbles, produce some freckles, because we do the freckles here. And I get teased for my torch being a flamethrower, but it was given to me as a gift, and I hold it dear. So we're going to tip these a little bit, and I'm going to try and do them so you guys can see what I'm doing. And my little trick for tipping is find the corner that you like the best and tip towards it first. And that's where you want to go with it. And that's why I say this is perfect amount of paint. You saw that my cups were full. I'm going to go back to the middle here because I don't want them oval shaped, the cells that have been produced. We're going to kind of tip it sideways. There we go. So we keep some of that cool texture that's right there. And the cool thing with tiles is they're great to practice on, and they're fun. But I'll tell you what, sometimes if you have hand problems like I do, they're a booger to hang on to. So I put a little paint there, try and help move it along. There we go. Get it to the edge and then let it drip over. We're going to bring it back. See if we can get some of the oval shape. I don't like them round, but I don't like them oval either, the cells. But that's what we got there. It's kind of basic, but it's still really pretty because that silver is kind of popping through. So we've got the silver metallic. This is a color shift, and this is a color shift. So let me grab a towel for my fingers. Got lids all over the place. I need to get myself a little table to put beside me here while I'm pouring. All right. I'm used to my big 6-foot table, and I've got this little 4x4 place, but it's okay. I'm making it work. I'm grateful for the space that I have. So I want to go this way first, and then we're going to bring it on back down this way. I don't want to lose a lot of that blue, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of coax it a little bit, and then bring it back. And then once I get it to a place where I think the movement will go the way I think it will go, because you know what? Paint kind of does its own little thing. Do what it wants to do. And I didn't quite get that corner. That's okay. We can go in with the finger. And we're going to kind of do it sideways this way. That's how you create your movement, just by seeing where your paint is at and then saying, okay, this is going to go this way. And really, acrylic pouring is just a lot of practice. Once you get to know how the paint is going to move, and if you use the same consistency of paints at all times, and that's the trick to any kind of fluid art that I found, except resin. Resin is its own monster. But I figure if I can do royal icing, if I can work with fondant, I can do resin. I just get frustrated with it and give it up for a few months, and then I come back to it. But this time, damn it. Trying to fit. You know what, Chelsea, send me a picture and let me see what it looks like, and maybe I can help you figure that out. Because I know when I'm working on furniture, I get that sometimes. And sometimes it's harder than it seems. Okay, so I like that corner, so we're going to tip it off here first. There we go. This one's got a little group of cells right in the middle, so we're going to try and get it to spread out a little bit. Go. Bring it down and over. And bring it over to this corner. That blue, so we're going to bring out that white a little bit. There we go. This is where that last corner, I tell you what, the last corner gets to be a little tricky, but this is a great way to learn. And it's inexpensive because canvases, I mean, I just ordered a bunch of Arteza canvases and they're really nice. And Monday I will be pouring on them for the first time, because that's Monday night is my kind of experiment night. So if you want to see me play and paint and do some experiments that you might be curious about, join me on Monday night, 7 Central. Oh, my fingers again. And I get my box of rags. I get them at Home Depot, or not Home Depot, Menards. That reminds me, I need to mail in that rebate. I need to do that. I'm going to pull that out right after the live so I remember. Okay, so I want to keep this. Do you see how that has some really cool stuff going on in this corner, and it's really close? So I'm just going to tap this corner just to bring the paint over. And we're going to tip it just a little bit to kind of cover where I brought the paint over. And then we're going to bring it back this way. this. I'm trying to get it in camera and I can't. There we go. Here we go. Ooh. I'm going to move these so I can that one on camera because that one's going to be really cool. All right, so let's move these over. I'm turning Smurf. So we're going to set these over here. And sometimes, you know, if you don't get all the edges covered, which with the amount of paint that I used, I don't have that problem. But you can go back with a paint pen, a silver paint pen, a gold, or whatever color, black, and do that before you seal it. Oh, I just fudged the edge. Hang on, let me tip that over. And sometimes having fingernails helps. Hang on. Dip my finger in paint and just kind of fix the edge. There we go. So there's another way you can finish off your edges if you want to. It's, you know, it's all, I have some that are finished that way and some that aren't. Okay, now I can bring this back because I didn't want it to drip into the other ones. But this one's got some really cool stuff going on. So I'm going to tip it as far as I can this way. And then I'm going to bring it back. Bring it back to center-ish. And then I'm going to tip it this way. And when we're tipping, we're going to kind of angle it a little bit so it's kind of going more sideways than like directional. You don't have to go like straight to each corner and call it a day. You can move it around and get the nice movement that you want. See, like now I'm going towards this back corner, but I'm more going up and down, and then I'm going to swoop it in at the last second there. There we go. I'm going to take my finger and just kind of tap the edges there. And that's how you get the really cool movement. You don't have to go. There's no rules, okay? That's the thing I love about acrylic painting. There are a few rules, you know. You don't want to eat after doing this. You can wear gloves. I choose not to. I'm a rebel that way. So now you could dip. Now say you did a whole bunch of them all in similar colors like this. You can dip the tile in there and pull it out. A lot of people, Brooke does that, and hers turn out amazing. Mine look like hot garbage, so I don't even bother. I'm going to put this. I was going to put this down because I want to do that tile that's been soaking for a minute. I'm going to show you real quick because you can see, hopefully, the paint has started to bubble. And look. Ta-da! One fair swoop. I'm going to toss that in the garbage. And then I'm going to bring this over to the sink and dump out the water so I don't spill it all over my foot. And then I just got a wet rag here. My hands are all full of paint, so I'm just taking a wet rag and getting the remaining stuff off of there. So a green scrubby, you know, or a fingernail, because that's what I usually use. It's just my fingernail, and I get the excess paint off of there. You can use a palette knife, just whatever. I'm hard on my nails. And then you just let this dry for, I don't know, probably 24 hours, depending on your humidity and your heat. I mean, obviously in Arizona, this is going to dry faster than it is here because, oh my God, the humidity. And then you can and then when it's all dry, just wipe it down with You know, I just did all my corners here, all my edges. And I'm getting more paint on it because my hands are full of paint. But you get the general idea. And if you have big bubbles in the back, they're just going to scrape right off. You can actually use a paint scraper on these too. Just be very gentle because you don't want to, scrape up your surface. But yeah, I use my fingernail. I'm such a tomboy. I never have my nails done. I can't even tell you the last time I had my nails done. But there you go. I mean, other than, here, let's wipe off the surface at least. But there you go. And then you can clean it up and some rubbing alcohol once it dries and paint on it again. So you only have to keep the ones you like. Hello, Dina. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to put this over here on my little paper towels. I'm going to grab another sip of coffee, and we're going to do one more set. And I have an idea. So let's roll with this idea. So we're going to create a bigger cup, and we're going to put them all, the tiles really close together. And we're going to do kind of like a triptych, what would you call that? A quad tick, like 4 of them. So, hey, my hands are kind of clean. Throw all that away. Okay. Excuse me. So, these two are pretty much gone. So, I'm going to put these over here. So, they're out of my way. There we go. So, we need the white. And I got paint on the, not paint, just a little niblet. There we go. Get that off the floor before I track it all over the damn place. Okay, so I want to use this green. I love this green. This is a Montmartre paint. This is the phthalo green. It's really pretty. So let's do phthalo green. Let's do this color shift. I think this is the green shift. And then let's do, I don't have much of that blue left either. Let's bring in some of this lime green and then go to yellow. And then we need something for some punch. I'm just going to move these out of the way because there's still paint in there. Let's do this teal. I think this is the teal. Aqua, the aqua flash. So let's do these colors together. So we have kind of a green palette. And then we'll put layer white in there. Okay, so this is that phthalo green. Well, it looks blue in my camera, but it's green. I don't know why does it look green down here? No. Wow. Okay, well, thank you, Logitech. But this is green, not blue. But it does have a blue undertone, so maybe it's just picking up on that. Okay, so we got that. And then this is that green flash. And we're going to pour a bigger cup. I'm going to grab a bigger cup. Okay, give that a stir. And then we've got this really awesome green. And we're going to probably finish these off. And this is just 1 part paint to, I think I mixed them 2 to 1. No, these were 1 to 1. 1 to 1 Floetrol and 1 part paint. And then the Montmartres were 2 to 1. If I remember correctly. I wrote it down, but I just didn't write it on the containers because I want to try and, once the paint is gone out of these containers, I'll soak them in hot water and then wipe them out with a rag. And then, because I don't want to put paint down the pipes, so I'll do it in a container and then go out back. Yeah, because see this aqua flash, I don't know if you can see it. It's got kind of a yellow undertone to it. The flash part of it's yellow. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to do a layered cup. And, you know, let's bring in some copper maybe. I think I'm going to swap these two around. Copper or gold? I'm not thinking gold. I'm thinking copper. Bring in some of that orange to give it some nice contrast. So I got my copper here. I have controlled chaos. I just found IKEA clocks, wood clocks, and a bunch of glass items when I cleaned up. Completely forgot about them. Oh, you found treasure, Tracy. I love finding treasure. Okay, so this is a 9-ounce cup, and I'm not going to fill it up all the way. I mean, I can. So I'm trying to find a place that I can do this. Okay, we're just going to have to go with that. There's a spot. That's in camera. Okay, so I'm going to start with the aqua. Okay. And the aqua, I usually just kind of, whatever the base color is, kind of move it around the cup. There we go. And we're going to do yellow. And then this green. Bye, Chelsea. Have a great day. Okay, and then I'm going to do a layer of white. And then I think we're going to pull out, I'm trying to decide if I should do 2 layers or just 1. Let's do 2. Let's do this aqua that we started off with. Let's do this dark green. And then this other color shift. And I didn't do the copper, but see, this is the fun part. We're going to take the copper. Oh, there's a goober on there. And we're just going to squirt it in there. Just like that. Okay? We'll do one more, just for good measure. So, now we're going to move this cup. Move these out of the way a little bit. Give myself some room. Okay, and then we're going to start here. Make sure that we're on camera here. And these are just Dixie cups, nothing special. I'm going to line these up so they're edge to edge. This might be a little challenging. There we go. Come on, let go. Oh no, it wants to come all up. All right, hang on. Yeah, there we go. Put you in the corner. No one puts baby in the corner. So you want to have it kind of, the cup kind of in the center. Just kind of eyeballing these. Oops. You know what? We're going to grab another 4 tiles, I think. You know what we're going to do? We're going to remove these. Oh, that one's not stick. Hang on. Let me shift these around. Sorry. Thank you for being patient with me. And this one. And way that over there. Move these little cups over here so we can move this up. There we go. I like those donuts because we're going to extend this a little bit more. We're going to do 6 cups or 6 tiles. And then, because I've got tiles right here that are ready to go. Because I sit here and I spray a whole bunch of them at one time. And then I just wipe them down real quick. All right, so we're going to line them all up. Just like that. Whoop-de-doop-de. There's a bump. Really? Okay. Listen, you're going to cooperate. There we go. It's got a little bit of a gap, but we'll be okay. All right. Some people, when they do a layer cup like this, will pour out of here. Some people will pour out of the side. Some people will pour on the opposite side. I pour where I poured. So we're just going to start at this end. I'm going to truck on along. All right, do we need, let's do a little bit. There. Make it all tie in together. All right, so let's torch this real quick. Good morning, Malie. Good to see you. Torch these really quick. Give these a torch while we have it flowing. I need to fill up my butane in here. There we go. All right, we're going to start with this one. This one, we're just going to pull it off. I'm try and do this right here where you can see. I'm just going to kind of move the paint around because there's some really cool effects going on and we didn't even really need to do anything. There we go. We'll make sure our edges are covered. There we go. That looks wicked cool. Check that out. Okay, so set that one down. This one we're just gonna do kind of the same thing. Bring it down, bring out some of those colors. Make sure we got all our edges. There we go. Wipe off our bottoms. That one turned out really cool too. Sorry for the reflection. I don't have my black thing up yet. I bought one. But I don't have it up yet. Okay, we're gonna, since we poured on the bottom of the cup, let's just move this one over. All right, this one is going to be a little bit more challenging. I want to keep some of that awesome texture, and I don't like that straight line that's moving through, so we're going to kind of angle it and turn it. Tip this off. Middle here. There we go. I like that. That looks really cool. So there's that one. Wipe off the edges here. Now you're like, oh, well, why are you going to do a set of 6? Because sometimes you have those ones that just don't turn out the way you thought they would. And they don't really match the rest. Like this one's not matching these. So that one I'll pull out 2 and sell a set of 4. And then, sometimes people don't like things all matchy and they just like to have the same similar colors, or they have, kind of an eclectic bohemian thing going on and would rather have a bunch of ones that don't match at all, So I let people decide what they want to do. If they want to go matchy, because I'm not a matchy kind of person. I don't even match my socks. So it drives people crazy that my socks aren't matched, but you know what? I'm an individual and I don't want my coasters to match. So good morning, Trey. Got your coffee, sweetheart? Okay, so let's do this one. And this one, we're just going to kind of tip it this way, straight up, mostly. Back. Tip it sideways. Because I'm just trying to move the paint to where I want it. We help it along a little bit by using our finger. Make sure our edges are covered. There you go. You don't want to have too much paint on these because they will crack when they dry. That's why I like using Floetrol, because it very rarely cracks unless you have a gobstopper amount of paint on there. I'm just rocking it back and forth just to kind of break up the lines, bring in some texture, some movement. As you practice, you learn how to do all the things and just kind of you build an instinct, an intuition of sorts. So the more you practice, and when you're practicing, you don't have to use expensive paints. You don't have to go out and buy Golden. You don't have to go out and buy Winsor & Newton. You can use craft paints just as long as your your consistency is correct. That one's really cool. So put that one there. Then we're going to hit this one. There we go. We're going to move this down. I need some green paint right here just to kind of help pull it along. There we go. There we go. Well, someone must have done something because I can't do the controls right now. Well, thank you, Trey, for the $5 artist boost. I appreciate you. Help keeping me in paint because, I think I would go insane if I didn't have painting or baking or something. This one's really cool. I'm going to tip this off just a little bit to open up these smaller lines. There we go. Oh, there we go. We got nice little cells going on in here. That copper, I tell you what, that copper and that yellow kind of came together and made this really cool color. So there's that. All kinds of cool movement in there. Let's move this one over here. Oh, hang on. I gotta move this out of the way. Try and put this in the bottom corner down here. Now I'm turning Hulk. What happens when you combine two fictional characters? You get a Hulk Smurf. You get angry Smurf. You won't like me when I'm angry. Sorry. I'm still waking up. I've been awake for a couple hours and I am not a waking up person. Anybody else like that? Hello, Disco Double. Yes, exactly, Jeff. Disco Double. Disco. See, there's a little dance that goes with it. Hello, Positive Condor. Good to see you this morning. Okay. Move that out of the way. Last one. Then we'll wrap this baby up. And this one I'm going to go straight. You know what? We're going to do this. Hang on. I'm going to bring in a little bit of white here. Just so when this paint moves, because I don't want to lose all that cool layering that's in there. So we're going to shove some white paint at it. There we go. Sure I get all the color off. There we go. All right, so when I tip it, now you can see that color is flowing nicely. It's not folding in on itself, and that's why I did that, because I want to keep as much of that color as I can. There we go. And I don't mind a little bit of white on the edge. So we're going to bring this back. Bring it down. There we go. Move this back and forth. We're just going to kind of move it back and forth because we want just that motion. Kind of. And I don't always bring it to all four corners right away. I just bring it to that general vicinity where I kind of want it. bring it back in, and then I'll go hit my corners again because we want that movement. I'm using my thumb as a corner catcher. Okay, we're going to bring it back. And bring it back down to this corner down here. There we go, and then bring it back to center. Great, mother of pearl, that's cool. Try and get this corner. There we go. There, I like that. Okay, make sure we got all our edges, which we do. Then there's that one. So you can see, we've been here a little over an hour. I've taught you how to clean your canvas, clean your tiles before you paint on them, how to clean off your tiles once you make your oopsie daisies and you're not really loving it. I've got 3 more tiles that I'm going to do today. And then I showed you 2 different techniques on how to do coasters, tiles. You don't have to limit yourself to the 4x4s. Get the big 6x6s. Get the ones that are the long ones, the 8, I think they're 4x8, 4x12. They're cheaper than canvases, and if you make a mistake, you can soak off the paint. So I think canvases are expensive. Even the cheap ones are expensive, and after you pour so much paint on them, they kind of fall to the wayside. So play in your paint, have fun, experiment, practice, practice, practice. I mean, Michael Jordan didn't come out of the womb knowing how to play basketball. He had to practice, practice, practice. You see the hockey players, the famous hockey players, and you see famous artists, I would say Steve Vai didn't come out with a guitar, So, Stevie Ray Vaughan. There we go. Steve Vai? Is it Steve Vai? Anyway, Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't come out of the womb with a guitar. Some say he did, but it takes practice, just like anything else. And once you learn and once you get comfortable with how the paint flows, you can do anything. So thank you so much, Doris and Trey. I appreciate your love and support. Sometimes I think I'm just battling my way through things, but hey, that's sometimes how you have to go through life, right? Right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video and know someone else who would, please share this out on the interwebs. That helps us grow and helps us build our community here, because that's what this channel is all about. It's about building community and making friends and having a support system and just, having fun with life. And, right now in this world, we need all the fun we can get. I appreciate you stopping by and hanging out with me. Have some coffee, have some tea, drink a Dr. Pepper or a Coke, whatever it is that you enjoy. I appreciate you stopping by and spending time with me. Again, if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you enjoy our little artist vibe and want to join a creative tribe, all you got to do is click that subscribe. Go out there and have a fabulous day. Remember, be kind to one another. Peace, love, and happiness.